Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jenny will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast. I'm your host and your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. And I have a really fun guest here with me today. Geri Brisbane Crooks has been a business owner for over 38 years. She is the founding director of the Brisbane Academy and Brisbane Tutoring Center Incorporated and a certified transformational coach since 2004. Geri established the tutorial program in the early 1980s and founded Brisbane Academy in 1992 as an accredited preparatory school for pre-K through high school learners. She has used her BA in mathematics and master's degree in education administration to successfully advise many professionals ranging from school principals and business owners to doctors and day traders. Since then, Geri has led over 26 joy journeys to South Africa, allowing those who provide valuable products and services to rest, recharge, and reconnect to their joy and meet other like-minded professionals. With almost 4 decades of experience as a business owner and an alumni of the Women's Advantage Levels 1 and 2 forums, it is Geri's honor to facilitate and share her amazing program that contributed to her school's operation and financial growth. Her passion in life is to educate and support others in living their best life. So what I'd like to do is welcome Geri to the show. Hi, Geri.
Hi, Jenny. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I am so glad you're here. We've already connected pre-interview on the fact that we're both educators. So that was so much fun to talk about that and talk about the things that we have in common with that. So you've started an academy and now you're a transformational coach. Tell us about the journey from starting a preparatory school into becoming a transformational coach.
You're an educator. This is what we do as educators. Come on.
Yeah.
Walk and do this class. It's just second nature as an educator, being in a classroom and having parents who go, wow, not only does he want to do his homework, he wants to make up his bed because they're so inspired, and I feel like it's a gift. You have those people that are born teachers and you have those people that are trained teachers. And typically when you hear about teachers burning out, well, I can't say that because even born teachers can get burned out, right, in the wrong setting.
Yeah.
So I say that to say that as a coach in the classroom coaching the children, I found that there were parents, particularly the mothers, that would drop them off at school. And I could see how the energy level for the children is a direct reflection from typically the mother. And if the mother is burning out, is definitely going to affect the children. So the way that I transitioned to that was, at the time the children were being picked up at the end of the day, spending 2, 3, 4 hours in the parking lot, coaching mothers like, you really must do something different because this is affecting your children, or how can I help, or just listening. And one of the things I must say, and I want every woman out there to hear this, is that women were put on this earth to share their superpowers. But in many instances, we live our lifetime and we get covered up with so many masks, as mother, as wife, as sister, as the vice president of this and the vice president of that. We really do forget who we are. We just think those feelings that we have, this over 80% of women in the United States are experiencing some level of depression. That is because our souls are calling us to wake up and be our superheroes to ourselves and to our world, but we don't know what it is because in many instances, we may end up taking medications, having the extra glass of wine to try to null that urge, but the urge is your superpowers are calling you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. For those of you, obviously, you guys are listening to a podcast, so you cannot see me. As soon as she said, we are here to share our superpower with the world, you should have seen me. I was cheering. I was like, yes, yes, like abso-freaking-lutely. Because Geri, you are so, so right. Because two things came out at me from what you said there. So, first thing is the superpower thing. We absolutely, so many of us, and this came out on the summit that I just hosted back in March with many of my summit speakers, was this thing that many of us overlook our superpower because our superpower comes so easily to us that we don't see it as a superpower. So anybody who's been listening to my podcast for any amount of time knows that I have said time and again that, it's taken me years to recognize this, but my superpower is training. It's educating, right? It came from me having been a teacher, right? I learned how people learn. I learned curriculum development. So I know how to create curriculum that is engaging. And actually by the end of it, people have learned something and they're ready to take action and be inspired and motivated to go do something, like you were talking about your kids who aren't just doing their math homework, but they're actually making their bed. By the way, I need you to talk to my kids and make that happen. Okay, Geri?
I can do that.
Yes, please. Oh my gosh. But the second thing that came up for me with that was you are definitely right. When it comes to talking about how women show up in the world is how their kids start showing up in the world. So that is a calling for all of us as mothers to say, okay, how am I, first of all, recognizing how am I showing up in the world? And is this the way I'm showing up right now, how I want my children to show up in the world? Because I am their model. And that's why I chose to work with rockstar direct sales moms. Because I know when I impact a mom through my coaching in direct sales, I am not just impacting mom, I'm impacting her children. I'm impacting her spouse or significant other. I'm impacting all of her friends, because when a woman learns something new and applies it in one area of her life, she often starts applying it in all areas of her life, because she goes, ooh, if this works in business, I wonder if this will work with my kids. I wonder if this will work with my husband. I wonder if this will work with my best friend when I talk like that. Oh my gosh, it works with everybody. So I know that when you work with a mom, the ripple effects goes out to thousands of people, because then that's how she shows up in the world for everybody. So I'm so, so glad that you brought that up, because that is definitely the truth. And that's something that I've seen happen in my 4 years of coaching. The fact that you've been doing it for 38 years, intentionally or not,
Because it's just and you have been doing it for much longer than you know as well. As long as you were an educator, you were coaching. But I must say, and again, hear me, women out there. And if you're men, share this with the women in your lives, with the women you love, your mothers, your sisters, your wives, your daughters. Empowered women empower our world. And one of I know when I see you, Jenny, I see this cape. At first, I just thought it was something with my computer, because I have a gift of seeing some of the gifts that in children. And a lot of times I will sit in a consultation. I'm like, you're a doctor, you're a scientist. And they're like, wow. And these children grow up to do exactly that. And we support them in being that and nothing else, because we can see it come out and we go, hey, would you like to meet an astronaut? Hey, would you like to see the launching of the space shuttle? But I see your cape, Jenny. And one of the many symbols that we can wear on our chest is a bolt of lightning. But when the women in your lives our batteries are low, the clouds cover the sun, is dark, it does not feel good. Their food does not, an empowered woman's meal, it could just be flour and water, will taste delicious. But if you have a woman in your life cooking for you and they're not empowered and they're drained by giving from a source that has been depleted already, the food it could be the grass-fed ribeye steak, it will have no taste. But when we are empowered, just a conversation with us will leave a sweet taste in your mouth.
Oh, that is so, so true. Oh my gosh, I love it. So when people say that grandma made her food with love, no one was kidding. It was for real. That's what made the difference. That's why grandma's food was so much better.
was humming while she was cooking it too.
Mhm.
Oh, delicious, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, that is so, so true. So as you've, slowly transitioned from being, running your academy to now running your coaching practice, what are some of the things that you're doing with women now that are helping them to advance their lives and their businesses now? How are you helping them find their purpose?
Yeah. Well, one of the things is this that I believe you may have shared it in my bio is really helping women to understand that if there's any fear that comes up in their lives, so any fear, any stress, and a negative thinking of any kind, is that we're empowered to handle anything that comes our way as long as we're very crystal clear about who we are. And that's one of the very first things that we do in our coaching is to establish your PMS, the good kind of PMS. Your personal mission statement. Your personal mission statement allows you to wake up in the morning. Mine is very simple. They're always very simple. So if I ask you, what's your PMS? You know, you don't have to go, wait a minute, let me pull out my yellow sticky or my notes. It allows you to wake up in the morning. Mine is simply to experience and to share joy, because I can't share with you something I have nothing of that kind inside of me. So mine is to experience and share. It's so that if I'm experiencing joy, whether I intentionally share it with you or not, you should feel it just from being around me or on the phone with me. And so having a very clear understanding of what your mission is in your life allows you to wake up in the morning, and you may have 50 things to do, but you make sure that those top 3 are leading you in the direction of that mission, and it's a journey. And not so much of trying to get to a destination. It is a state of being. But if you're not clear on that, you can wake up every day and feel very unempowered. And that's not a good feeling, right?
Absolutely. No. And I love that you say that because I came up with my own mission statement. Now, this was through coaching with my business coach. I think I came up with this mission statement about 2 years ago and I created it and I have it right here in my background. So I'm pointing for those of you who are listening right now, I'm pointing for Geri to see. I've got my mission statement back here because I like to have it where I can see it all the time. Even though it's backwards to me, I know what it says, which is I'm empowering rockstar direct sales moms to be leaders at home and in business. I know what my mission is.
Yes. And so the part that feeds you in there is that I am
empowering rockstar direct sales moms.
Yes. And so in order for you to be able to do that, I'm empowered. So you fill yourself up and then you give out to others. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can't give what you don't have, right? And so many of us hear about like, make sure you're refilling your cup. And I think you're really going to enjoy this piece. So I just saw an interview. Do you know Dr. Ivan Misner, or are you familiar with him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So Dr. Ivan Misner just co-wrote a book called Infinite Giving. And he said one of the principles of giving is to give from your saucer, not from your cup.
To let it run over into the saucer and never give from your cup ever again. And the thing with women is that we're such passionate givers because it is our superpower to just give, that we unconsciously do that. Many instances we do not know. We're unaware that our cups are empty until the doctor says, hey, stage this and stage that. Or it takes a pain or something. And I just feel like in terms of circles of influence, you make sure that you can find a circle of influence that inspires you. These are women that are pouring into you and you're pouring into them so that they're even able to see you and go, hey, what's going on? Are you aware of this? Because a lot of times we're too close because we're too passionate and we don't know until, and it's hard. Like it's like trying to make your car go after it runs out of gas. And then you have to figure out, like, what's the nearest gas station? you know, that kind of thing. So that circle, and if your circle of influence is that circle of friends, if they're not inspiring you, then your circle is a prison.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's pretty common for people to know. I think it was Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar or somebody like that who said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, to speak to what you're saying, Geri, is are you spending time with people who are working to fill you back up? And if you're
Yes.
not, then you need to change who you're spending time with, right? Taking
Yeah.
a look at that. So, God, I love this. I love this. I love this. So as you're working with people for their purpose and you're helping them figure out all of this, what are some of the stumbling blocks that these ladies come across in working with you?
Yes. Well, I will say, and just what we're saying in terms of the women and their goals and their feeling is that sometimes for the time being, you may have to be your own best friend until a like-minded person comes up. And that's how you reach out. You don't close up because you don't meet others by closing. You just, be a party of one. And then when someone else comes in and they have the same level of, mutual, then they can join your party. But until then, it's okay sometimes to just pour back into yourself and be so full with your saucer and another saucer so that when it's a like-minded person, but just to have a circle of influence, just to say you have a circle of influence, it can be borderline dangerous. So I would say many instances in terms of women that contact me, it could be a confidence mindset, because I would say, and you can let me know what your thoughts are, I feel the number one challenge of women always to the beginning of time has been self-love. And we try to love everybody and everything. And then we're wondering sometimes, when you see women and they're like, but they say, oh, she's obsessed and she's a stalker and this and that, because you're wanting to get back what you're giving out. But until you give it to yourself first, how can you expect, and how can you even know what you're looking for if you've not felt that for yourself? So, so most of the instances, it's just like helping them to understand, hey, you really must get your mind set in knowing, really, you must put the oxygen on yourself first before you try to save the world. And so that is one of the most common things that I see is still that the stress. And, my whole definition around stress is just that it's a lack of clarity.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you are clear, when you know exactly what step to take, what's coming next, what action to do, or, whatever it is, there is never stress around clarity unless you're not ready to take the step.
And absolutely. And then that stress leads to overwhelm, and you really won't get it until you take the time to be still and establish the connection with your powerful. I mean, who would not want to establish a connection with the superpower? And they're like, wait, I want to be connected with the superpower. I was like, well, you're one. Start with you. And then once you can connect, then you just automatically have that ability to see others. Once you connect with the superpower within yourself, you have the power to see other superheroes. And then together, when you all connect, you really do make a difference in making our world a better place to live.
Oh, I love that. And man, just imagine a whole world of women who get their superpower. I mean,
Yeah, can you imagine the example we set for those young ladies that are going, wow, I will just be a superhero like my mom, like my aunt, like my grandmother. But now it's just like we become superheroes for the world in a different way, and for the elements in the world versus for the world that we're here to make our powerful connections to. So there's a distraction. There's a difference. It's like almost like pouring water into the desert, trying to make a river. It's just like we're putting our attention in the wrong place. When it goes inside, it makes our bolt of lightning light up, and then we go, dun, 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 we become the superhero. And then that cape, you get to see your cape, and all of that.
Yes. So as women are working with you and they're starting to figure out what their superpower is, where their areas of overflow are, because let's be honest, we aren't always overflowing in all areas of our lives. We all have areas where our cup is a little less full and definitely not to the point of overflowing. But as women are going through this with you, what are some of the benefits that they're telling you that they've gotten from working with you?
One of the things I notice immediately is that they have this glow. Because one of the things, it's just like in education, I always say to parents, please do not feed my scholars sugar. And I, as a math teacher, I would teach algebra 2, trigonometry, and pre-calculus in one school year. Even though it's like two separate, but I was able to do that because I would get the commitment of my children to not eat sugar. And I told them it paralyzes their brain. And then I'll get the parents to support me in that. Is that the benefits is that they're feeling energized. They're having more clarity. They're having more self-love. And it's nothing like getting up in the morning, opening your eyes and going, whether it's raining liquid sunshine or whatever's going on in your life, just to wake up and feel good. I mean, I always say, to the ladies, the participants I'm working with, is that in order to help you, you must feel good, because there's nothing like having all this knowledge, but then you're sick. It's that we work on foods that are good for you, getting 8 hours of sleep, positive self-talk. All of those things attribute to your superpowers to be able to radiate. People should be able to look at you and go, I want to know you, just because you have that glow. They can see that. So I've had people to say, hey, things are just happening magically, but it's not the magic of what is happening outside of them. It's the magic of what's happening inside of them, because they become almost like the law of attraction, almost because their minds, when, like Dr. Wayne Dyer says, when you're changing the way you're looking at things you look at change, and things are happening to you just become almost overwhelming in a good way. So these are the kinds of things that I hear, magically my illnesses are gone, because a lot of times illnesses, dis-eases, when you're not at ease in your body, dis-eases are because you're emotionally not happy in your life because you're suppressing your superpowers.
Ah, yes. 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 That's why it's called disease. Love this. So now, as our listeners are sitting here going, oh my gosh, I feel like Geri is talking directly to me. Like they feel like they are listening to this because holy crap, the universe is saying, I need to connect with Geri. How can my listeners reach out to you, Geri? How would you like them to connect with you?
I have myjoycoach.net. They can reach me there, or email me at baprep@bellsouth.net. It's an acronym for Brisbane Academy Preparatory School, baprep@bellsouth.net. Or they can call me. I don't know if is it okay to give out my
contact if you number? Want to. Yeah.
704-622-6469, 704-622-6469. I would love to talk to you. And at a minimum, I would love to offer your listeners a free session just to clarify their personal mission statement. I'm committed to your audience in that way.
Oh, that is so generous of you. Thank you, Geri. Mm-hmm. So guys, BDSM crew, you guys know how this goes. As long as you're not driving, grab your phone, click on the episode, scroll up just a little bit, and you will see the show notes there. In the show notes, we will have a link direct to Geri's website and also her email, and just send her an email saying, I just listened to you on the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast, and I would like the PMS session, please. The personal mission statement session. And so that way Geri knows that you heard her here on the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast. So Geri, thank you so much for your expertise. It has been a joy to have you here.
My pleasure. And you know what? It won't be long when there are enough women that are connected to their superpowers. Forget the 747s. You will see us flying across the sky in our case. You never know.
I love that.
Power ladies, right?
You get a woman who is hell-bent on doing something, it's going to happen. Every time. Well, again, Geri, thank you so much. This has been so much fun talking to you. And BDSM crew, you guys know how this goes. Stay tuned, because there is another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.